What's going on, everybody? My name is Vincent Van Ghool, and welcome back to Van Ghool Reviews. Now, today, we're going to be talking about Candy Screams, the most recent release by Jess-O-Lantern. Now, Jess-O-Lantern is, at least normally, a solo acoustic act, not unlike myself. But this album was a full band effort that was recorded in quarantine in several different places with her label mates from Batcave Records. Now, she's on Batcave Records, so this was released through Batcave Records on February 13th, 2021. And this album is 10 songs, clocking in at 35 minutes, 29 seconds. So let's get into this, shall we? I'm pretty excited because I'm a pretty big fan of hers. So the first track is called Are You Afraid of the Dark? And it comes in at 2 minutes and 49 seconds. It comes in with real heavy punk with slap bass, and I'm already loving it. Okay, so I feel like the vocals are getting just a touch buried here, but they're still clear enough that you can understand what Jess-O-Lantern's saying. Her vocal melodies, as they usually are, if you go back and you listen to Restin' Pumpkins or Bare Bones, on point, you know. And I could tell that there was a lot of communication done on this song between the musicians. Lyrically, she brought her A game. It's just cool. And I really do enjoy the fact that as you're going through the song, the transitions are so smooth. Okay? You really do just kind of melt from verse to chorus. It's really good. And you know how sometimes you can just tell that a singer's enjoying what they're doing? Like, they're just having so much fun, whether it's in the writing process or the recording process or both. I get that with this. I find myself waiting for Jess-O-Lantern to really let loose vocally, which she does at the end, and she holds that last note well after the music cuts out, which I think is a really good way to end this song. I think this song, in and of itself, is a really good way to open up this album, and a really great tribute to that old show we used to watch on that Saturday night series with the big orange couch. Now, the second song is called Happy Haunts, okay? And it runs about 3 minutes and 18 seconds. With this one, everything kicks in all at the same time, right there at the beginning, with Jess's vocals right up front and prominent. I get a really heavy Stellar Corpses vibe on this one, which might be due to the fact that, Dusty Graves is pretty heavily involved here. Again, the vocal melody is so fun, and the guitar is keeping up, which is fun for me. I really do like the backing vocals and how they decided to go about placing them. Most of the time it sounds like there's just the one Jess, then all of a sudden there's 4 Jesses right at the end of the line. Right? I really like the bridge. I like that it's kind of abrupt there. And also the drummer is just a freight train here. I find myself getting really sucked in to Jess's vocals right at the end. There's just something to me about the way that she sings at the end of her songs that just does it. You know what I mean? It's something I truly enjoy. And here we come at the third song, called Siren Lagoon, and it's 3 minutes and 58 seconds. Back in July of 2018, Jess put out a video that is just her playing this song on her acoustic. And I loved it. I loved it. It was probably sometime like July 25th, I think, of 2018. So I was pretty excited coming into this because I was like, oh, I know this song. I've heard this, and it didn't disappoint. I really do enjoy it this way as much as I enjoyed it just her and her guitar. Um, Her songwriting to me is almost always just on point. Like I think that's one of her strong suits here. I like that this one is a touch slower than the one that's just her and her acoustic guitar. Um, because I feel that it gives a cooler vibe to the song. Um, I kind of feel like the music for this one was written around uh, the lyrics and the vocal melody because it just seems to fit so well that way. Um, and she's got some real aggression to her voice because if you listen to the subject matter in the lyrics, she's talking about how the creature from the Siren Lagoon left her for a sea hag. And she's upset. And so that makes a lot of sense and it elevates the song just that much more, at least to me. Of course, the woes are, I'm a sucker for a good batch of woes, right? I'm enjoying that here, obviously. And I do like how the vocals were done. In a lot of cases with this, you've got two different styles, not just two different vocal tracks. You've got two whole different styles on top of each other, but they still manage to mesh really well, and it sounds good. Is the end result there? And I just like the way the song ends too. Um, our fourth song is Bat Child Found in Cave, and it's only 2 minutes and 6 seconds. This one begins with just Jess singing, and then it kicks full psychobilly. Alright? And her voice really does seem to suit the psychobilly aspect of this, which you wouldn't normally expect that from somebody who does a more rock-oriented, like straight-up rock and punk-oriented style sometimes. Um, the guitar work and the tone of the guitar on this song really did catch my attention. Um, and there's a line in the song, live every day like it's Halloween. And that's something the Lady Fiend uh, really does try to live by. Check her out on Instagram when you get a chance. Um, that whole Bat Boy that they did in the background, I really enjoyed that. And most of this song feels like one long, protracted chorus, but that's fine, okay? And I really like the way it trails out as well. This song's kind of, in my eyes, a bit of a rest stop before you get into something bigger. And now we're at the halfway point with track 5, Monster of the Week, at 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Again, this one just opens up with Jess singing, with some almost like metal style stabs underneath. And then it kicks into something that, to me, is really reminiscent of the Necromantics. And obviously, I'm a sucker for woo-woos, so the woo-woos are awesome to me. I really like the transition that they do between the verse and the chorus on this one. It's abrupt, but it's not jarringly abrupt. Okay? And the vocals on the chorus are liquid gold. I think we're all in danger of this song getting stuck in our heads because it's real catchy, real bouncy, real poppy almost. The drums are really neat here. As I was listening through, I started noticing different patterns that maintain the same rhythm, but it's different patterns as opposed to like using my own music as the example, 2 to 3 patterns and you're done. This had a lot more than that, I think. And that made it a whole lot of fun for me. And I know I say this one a lot when it comes to Jess, but when she really lets loose vocally, it's magic. She has a powerful voice, and I find myself wishing she'd let go more than she does, but she does it a lot as is. So, and now we're on track number 6, which is called "But You Must Feed," and it sits at 4 minutes and 2 seconds. We open a bit on a drum fill, and then it kicks into a riff that's a little reminiscent in my eyes to Murder in the Pumpkin Patch by Blitzkid, just a little bit. And then Jess comes in with some real fun vocals, and that vocal melody really suits it. And I like how they build up in the pre-chorus. Like it builds up and builds up, and then the transition there is a whole lot of fun, right? Now I do love the way they do the bass on this. You know what I mean? And the changeover when the bridge pre-chorus comes in, going down instead of up. A lot of bands, when they're going into the bridge, build up. They dive down a bit, right? The musicianship on this song blew me away. All right, that's what I'm trying to say here. We end up at the end with just Jess singing "Where Would I Be" with that amazing voice of hers. It's a really great song. Track 7 here is our title track, and it's called Candy Screams, and it comes in at about 3 minutes and 52 seconds, and we actually open with Jess and her acoustic. I had been listening and hoping for that to happen, for that to make an appearance, and we finally got it. After a little bit, it kicks into the full band, and the vocals once again are on point. And I like the held notes on most of the chorus. It's a very signature Jess-O-Lantern. The chorus is so good. Right now, they feed on the sound of your candy screams. Right, that is a really cool line, and I think they were right to call the song that. Right. That chorus is so catchy. It is so much fun. I just want to say that. Um, it's real apparent to me that these lyrics were very heavily thought out by Jess. All right. And when she lets go at the end, it's liquid gold. And I love that toward the end, we kind of end where we started with Jess on acoustic, um, and singing. I think that was the best way they could have ended this song. Then we roll into track number 8 called In Between, and it's 4 minutes and 38 seconds. Jess and her acoustic are back, with a little bit of electric guitar dropped in for flavor and accent. Then Jess comes in singing. This has a ballad feel to me, and I'm 100% here for it, and it is so good. You know that song that Sarah Jessica Parker sings, "Hush Little Children" in Hocus Pocus? I kind of get a little bit of that feel to this. Um, Whenever Jess decides to bring it down on her albums with like this song or "Lullaby for a Monster," she has a real way of creating atmosphere with just her voice and her acoustic guitar, and really making you feel the song. You know what I'm saying? I like the use of the keyboards here because, unfortunately, with a lot of bands, when they're doing an acoustic track and they bring in keyboards over the top of it, sometimes the acoustic guitar, gets lost in the mix. You hear the pick hitting the strings, but you really don't hear the music from the guitar. And that's unfortunate, But here, this is mixed well enough where you can hear everything really clearly. I feel like Jess's vocals lead this whole song, which I feel like was a good idea. And when we end on the chorus, again, Jess's vocals are right there in the pocket, and then it fades out. And this is easily my favorite song on the album. Track 9 is Mrs. Billy Butcherson, and it clocks in at 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Once again, we are treated to Jess and her acoustic with almost a 50s doo-wop-y kind of feel. And then the rest of the band comes in, and it's a mid-tempo psychobilly country affair, which I'm 100% here for being honest, right? And I mean, who doesn't really like a song that references a movie like Hocus Pocus, especially, one that deviates from the norm, where everybody's talking about Vanessa or Max or the Sanderson sisters or Thackeray Binks, which we've heard all of that before, and focuses on Billy Butcherson. And it's a love song to Billy Butcherson. It's fantastic. I'm so here for that. You know what I mean? It's obvious to me on listening to this song that everybody that worked on this song had a whole lot of fun with it. Like, you just feel the joy, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And I think I may have heard this one, actually, come to think. I could be wrong, but I may have heard this on one of the live-streamed concerts that Jess-O-Lantern has done. If you see her pop up saying she's going to do a live-stream concert, go watch that. And we come finally to the last song, which is track 10, called I Want to Be Your Final Girl. And it's clocking in at 4 minutes and 22 seconds long. It opens up with just bass and drums, and then Jess comes in. And I like the reference to the classic slashers, right? I think we would all appreciate that. And the chorus is really energetic. And again, you can really tell that there was a whole lot of fun being had by the musicians here, even if they weren't all in the same room. You know what I'm saying? Jess really loves her songs to villains. And let's be honest, we really like it when she sings songs to the villains in our favorite horror films, right? I love the lyrics, and I love Jess's writing style on this one. It's just so fun. She really showcases that signature vibrato of hers. Suddenly, right about halfway, almost all the way through, it drops. Just drums, bass, and Jess-O-Lantern builds into another chorus with Jess letting go a little bit, and it just goes out like that, right? Really well put together. Now, overall, I really did enjoy this album. I enjoyed this offering from Jess-O-Lantern. Normally, if you've only heard, like, Rest in Pumpkins or Bare Bones, like, with Rest in Pumpkins, going into this, if you've heard that, you expect that punkiness that she had on that, or if you've only heard Bare Bones, you expect her to be just acoustic, with almost like a cabaret kind of feel. But this, by and largely, was a psychobilly project. And I'm okay with that. It worked, in my opinion. I like it when artists decide to dabble in something they don't do normally. Because it makes for a more fun release, because you hear that they're enjoying stepping out of their comfort zone and having a little fun with it. And that makes this, in and of itself, really enjoyable to listen to, And so, I hear you guys asking me, hey, Vincent, what would you give Candy Screams by Jess-O-Lantern? I'm going to say 4 out of 5 pumpkins. I feel like Jess herself got a little lost sometimes vocally. Like, it got kind of lost in the mix a little bit here and there. And in some parts, there was a little bit of sameness. But overall, this is a real standout in her catalog. And it's definitely worth going out and picking up and listening to multiple times, okay? I'll never get tired of Jess's taking inspiration from things like Hocus Pocus or Are You Afraid of the Dark, stuff like that, because it's always fun to see what inspires your favorite musicians. I enjoyed that she pushed herself on this one and did something out of her norm, you know, which, all things considered, made this a great album. I can't wait to see what's next with her. So that was my review of Candy Screams by Jess-O-Lantern. As always, links will be in the description. Check out my other videos, like my response to Nikki Casket's questions in Cemetery Hysteria, my other reviews, the most recent of which being Dichotomy's It Came From Outer Space EP, and then the videos that are of my own music. I've got stuff by The Creepers, Plague Bearer, and Vincent Van Ghool up on here, so feel free to go check that out while you're here. I want to say thank you for spending your time with me. I am Vincent Van Ghool, and as always, we may be freaks, but we are not alone, and long live the horror.